Hey everyone, my name is Jake and today we are going to be looking at some I Don't Work Here Lady stories, so sit back, relax and enjoy. I don't work here, but we are all in the same century. For those who don't know, the Amish don't use modern technology, but it varies by sect. Some have phones, some even drive cars. I know you can find some with faults, puppy mills are a problem, but most are the friendliest, kindest people you'd ever meet, even if you are English, as they call us. There is an Amish-owned bulk health food store near me, the kind of place where you can get things like 5-pound bags of good quality instant oats for 49 cents a pound, and all sorts of specialty flours, nuts, seeds, and so on. The family that owns it is no electricity. Lighting is skylights supplemented with propane lights when needed. Coolers run on propane, and so do the registers. Also, for various reasons, they don't take credit cards, and there are multiple signs, cash or check only, on the entry doors and around the registers. This is important later. So here I am on a major stocking up trip to the store dressed in ripped jeans and a flannel shirt. I brought my mother so she can get a few things. In walks entitled Shopper, and how she found this place that's on back roads in the middle of a farm country, I don't know. In her defense, I had left my mother with my cart and my purse in a chair by a small shelf of cookbooks, and I was down on the floor moving bags of flour around looking for the largest size I can get. Excuse me, don't they have any coffee in here? And where are the dolls? Sorry, what? Coffee. Where's the coffee? And why can't I find the dolls and those other homemade things? Well, coffee is 2 aisles down on your right, and they don't sell dolls or crafts here. What do you mean? Of course they do. That's how these people make their money. It's all they know how to do. Now, show me where the coffee is and we'll need to go cups. It finally hits me she wasn't just asking the first person she saw, but thinks I'm an employee. I don't work here, I'm shopping like you. And this is a grocery store, not a tourist shop. They don't sell hot coffee or crafty things. This is when it gets weird and I get a little angry. Of course you work here, you're stocking the shelves. Besides, these people always have someone like you around to help them. What? You know, someone who's not so... She waves her hand like she's searching for the word, then lowers her voice sort of conspiratorially. Backwards. Someone normal who actually lives in this century. And she gives a snide little laugh like she made some original joke. Okay, so here is where I wanted to yell at this woman and tell her exactly where to stick her opinions, but I realize I can't because I don't want any of the owners or actual employees to hear what she's saying about them, and I am extremely thankful no Amish shoppers have come down the aisle during this. Ma'am, this business is fully Amish owned and run, and I can promise you they're very capable. Probably better at it than you, and I put together. They don't need or want anyone to interpret for them. I still don't work here though, and it sounds like this isn't the store for you, so maybe you should just move on and find some tourist trap to buy your awful souvenirs at. I got lucky here. The entitled shopper took a deep breath like she was gearing up for a major hissy fit, when my mother comes up with a half-full cart and says, "Didn't you find the flour yet? I'm done with the cookbooks and we need to be home by 2 p.m. I stand up and say, "Got it, Mum. Found, I forget exactly, but this many pounds and that many pounds in separate bags. They don't seem to have one large bag, so this'll have to do." I lug the bags into the car and say excuse me to the entitled shopper and hightail it to the next aisle. Very grateful she just stood there, apparently trying to figure out if she was wrong and I was actually a shopper, or did I just bring my mummy to work with me? All I said to my mother was, "I'll tell you in the car." Not the most explosive story, no fights, no police involvement, just quietly tried to put her in her place. But here's where some wonderful karma comes in. We were delayed checking out when we asked about specialty salt. They only had small 1/4 and 1/2 pound bags on the shelf, but said a shipment had just come in and they'd pack us a larger bag if we didn't mind waiting. Here comes entitled shopper and her husband or boyfriend. I guess they found their souvenirs because everyone seems to buy these when they visit. They had a couple of shoe fly pies, plus a loaf of fresh bread and 2 sodas from the cooler. Entitled shopper tried to pay by credit card. The cashier said, "We don't take card, but I can hold your items if you need to go get cash." And I had the biggest smug grin on my face, hearing the so-called backwards Amish cashier tell her exactly where to find 2 nearby banks that had ATMs, the name of the banks, and which one they recommended because the fees were lower if you weren't a customer. And I have to admit, I rubbed it in just a little. Just then they came back with my salt, and instead of just "thank you," I threw in, "You are always so helpful. I really appreciate shopping here and how you run your business." It sounded over the top, but I said it just a little more loudly than I needed to, and I'm pretty sure I saw entitled shopper twitch a bit. We had to leave then, so I don't know if she paid cash or just skipped the pies and drinks. I personally just couldn't live without electricity. Like, for them it's a personal choice, they can do what they want, but for me, no way. I got cold called to teach someone's kid how to ride dirt bikes. Okay, so this is a strange one. I literally just hung up the phone. So I'm currently in a time zone where it's 12:30ish in the morning. It's freaking late. I'm doing calculus homework and genuinely hating my existence. My phone rings. The only people who call me are my mum, my grandmother, and this one girl from Tinder who likes to chat while she works nights. She's a nurse. But this was an unknown number. Okay, I'll bite. I answer the phone. Hello? Some random mum who I will refer to as Karen. Hi, is this OP? Yeah, it is. Who is this and what's going on? So-and-so said you used to teach kids how to ride dirt bikes, like on a track? What? Who is this? It's like midnight. Yeah, I used to teach at a summer training camp, but I don't anymore. You got my number from who? It's only 9:30, don't be silly. Will you teach my son how to ride? Again, it's midnight. I'm trying to do homework and we aren't even in the same time zone. Please don't call me again. I wish I could make this up. I'm taking engineering because I'm not creative. 3-ish years ago, when I was 18 or 19, I worked at a motocross training camp as a way to get free track time because I was racing and track time is expensive AF. So during the week, I taught 10-year-olds how to not die on track. Who this woman talked to, I have no idea. The name didn't ring a bell. But yeah, I had a decent chuckle from this, so I figured some of you might as well. I just realized, even if it was only 9:30, who calls at 9:30? I do nae work here, laddie. This happened years ago. My dad's cousin Robert was visiting from Scotland for the first time. We live in Canada. He had been taking turns staying at each of my dad's siblings that lived nearby. That day, he was staying with my parents. We had a nice lunch together at their home, but for dinner, we were going out to a nice restaurant. My mother, father, his cousin, my little bro and I, 2 of my aunts and 2 of my uncles. So a pretty big party. We had called ahead to get a reservation. The whole family had dressed nicely since we knew we were going somewhere nice for this special occasion. The restaurant where we were going was not the #1 restaurant in the city, but it was pretty high-end, one of my personal favorite places to eat in the city. The whole staff dressed nicely, but the manager and sommelier both wore suits. We got to the restaurant maybe 15 minutes early, but our table was already ready, so we were seated right away. I was friends with the sommelier in particular and knew most of the staff pretty well, so I was talking to him for a bit. We chatted about what wine they had gotten in recently. They had picked up a large collection from an estate sale that I hadn't been able to attend myself. I ordered several bottles from this new collection for the table, then went to seat myself. The dinner rush was just starting as our waiter took our orders. Robert got up and headed for the bathroom, which our server pointed out for him. As he was coming back around the corner to our table, a skinny young guy in a tacky suit snapped his fingers at Robert, who noticed and looked at him surprised and sort of offended. The man was loud, very needlessly loud. This was a nice place and people were talking in muted tones. Hey you, yes you, we're ready to order. Beg your pardon, laddie. What are you going on about? Robert's accent was thick as oatmeal. My order! Take my order! We're ready! It was about this moment Robert realized the rude young man thought he worked at the restaurant. I dunny work here, laddie. The rude young man was having none of this. His immediate anger was clearly apparent as he stood up. This situation was getting out of hand. I and my little bro both got up from the table to go back up Robert. We got there almost the same time as the manager. The rude young man now shouting, "You can't treat me like this! Don't you know who I am?" Robert was recoiling. Having heard so much about Canadian hospitality, he was floored by this rude young man. Floor manager stepped between Robert and his aggressor as Robert was stepping back and the rude young man. Sir, I don't know who you think you are, but your behavior is unacceptable. I'm going to have to ask you to leave. I demand you fire this server. He was very rude. You can't treat me like this. My dad owns this place. I'll have your job. I'll have all of your jobs. This guy was so loud that the chef had come out to see what was the matter. Dressed in black with a black heavy leather apron, heavy leather knife sheaths on each hip hung on a belt around his waist, tattoos all over his arms and neck, muscular and a little over 6 feet tall. Chef was quite an imposing figure, particularly with the angry look on his face. And at this point, the whole restaurant was staring at the rude young man. The chef, in an aggressive but not overly loud yet commanding voice, "This is over. You're out of here. Get up and get out now." Chef's command allowed no rebuke. The skinny little peant looked terrified. He and his lady friend both got up looking horrified and rushed out of the restaurant. I thought he was going to make another comment as he fled, but he just scurried away. Several people cheered, several others clapped as Chef retreated back to the kitchen. The excitement over, we ended up having a great rest of our meal. The floor manager ended up comping the whole meal, nearly $2,000. Both my dad and I really wanted to pay, but he just refused to take our cards. So we ended up just leaving a big pile of cash on the table when we left. The following week, I went back to the place with a friend. The sommelier was just itching to dish the news. Turned out the rude young man's dad had indeed owned the restaurant, a part owner. He was a wealthy local landowner, businessman and restaurateur. Unfortunately for that little peant, his father had not been on his side at all when he tried to get everyone fired. Much to his dismay, his father instead took away his trust fund, the penthouse he was living in, and his car. Kid ended up having to get a job for the first time in his life. Wow, those two videos look really appealing. I'm gonna have to click at least one of them. Right guys? Click one of them if you want to see some more stories.